Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us for another video today. I really do appreciate you popping in. We're doing a series this week and hopefully next week on meeting the jewelry community and those that we kind of really admire and those that we're being introduced to. Every day we're getting new people in the community that are making fabulous content. And they all have something different to offer. That's what I love about this community. It's diverse. Everyone is here either as a passion, a hobby, or even an enterprise. So today we're going to meet a young lady that I met and kind of inadvertently, and I got to tell you this story because it's just incredible the kind of people you can meet when you kind of don't think there are people like that left in the world, but there are. So I met Adrienne because I got a package in the mail and it had a 14 karat gold bracelet in it. And that bracelet I had purchased from another person. And I get so much jewelry that I sometimes open it quickly and I sometimes recycle the envelopes, and I have a big stack where I keep envelopes. Well, I grabbed an envelope and I put a purchase in there to Adrienne. Adrienne was a customer of mine that I didn't even know she was a customer over on Posh. She bought something from me on Posh, and then for some reason, this envelope came back a week later, and in it, it says, oh, I thought this was a Posh gift because on Posh, people do kind of gift things and everything. So, but then I noticed it was 14 karat gold. So I figured it was a mistake, and please let me send it back to you and whatnot. I said, oh my gosh, I could not believe someone actually did that. And then she refused to give me, to let me pay postage or anything. She just sent it right to me. So she says to me, I bought it from your Posh or whatnot, and I watch you on YouTube, and I like your videos and so forth. And she said, I just started doing videos too, just inadvertently. So I went to YouTube to find her. Then I tell my friends about her and some of the people here on YouTube, and they're like, oh, Doug's already watching her. Doug loves her. I had no idea who she was, but she's a total delight here on YouTube. To say that she has integrity, I mean, what is that? That is just something lost, unfortunately, Adrienne, and you just restored my trust in humanity and everything, and she's just been a total delight on YouTube. Adrienne, if you would, I'm going to turn it over to you. Will you just tell us why you got on YouTube? What is it that YouTube that brought you to do content on YouTube?
Yeah, it's a great question. And first of all, thanks for having me and reminding me of how we met. That was something, and I'm really happy to be connected to you. I got on YouTube, as many of us did, during COVID. I was really struggling. I've talked about this a bunch on my channel. I was having a very rough time. My husband and I relocated to California about a year before this all happened. And so my friends and family are all back on the East Coast. And I was finding myself, even though I'm in a wonderful marriage, and we're still kind of in the honeymoon period, we're just married 3 years this week, I just felt really lonely. I was used to going into an office, having a team, and being around family and being around friends, and now you're kind of stuck in a house. So I started playing on TikTok first and witnessed a bunch of resellers opening up Goodwill bags and boxes. And so I figured I'll order one and see how it'll do. And it was a really great box. It was like a 1980s, 1990s glitzy box of jewelry, and I kind of fell in love right away. And the YouTube channel was a natural evolution for me, from Poshmark and Etsy and some of the other selling I was doing.
Right. So this was post-pandemic.
Right
after we were told stay home. Don't go anywhere. In March. That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm in the PR business, so the social media thing, is something that comes pretty naturally because in my business we use a lot of Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all that stuff, but I never really did video until after COVID.
So you were already having Zoom meetings because you're very comfortable in front of the camera. I feel like you're very comfortable. You're very yourself, which I think is what the draw is for a lot of people. You can just see it as soon as you start watching your videos. You had already been on video and things with your business at all?
Well, Definitely on Zoom with clients. I
Yeah.
think, my business that I own, which is called Atrium PR, is all about getting our clients out in the press. So I am someone who trains people to be in front of the camera. I've done a little bit of television. I was a journalism major in school. At one point, I did want to go into broadcast journalism. And so, yeah, so it's very, very comfortable for me to be on camera, and I love it. I really do.
Good. Yeah, it shows. Let's just say hi to a couple of people in the chat really quick. See Vanessa in there, Debbie. Hey, Crystal at Moon Goddess Treasure. She will be on my show too. I'm so excited to talk to Crystal.
Awesome.
Dawn is here, Diana, and Dawn will be here hopefully on Monday. I'm so excited about that. That's going to be a good talk. That's going to be a great talk. Susan, Cassandra, and Doug. Hi, Doug. And Kristen's going to be on too. I am so happy to have everyone here, guys. Be sure and hit the thumbs up as you walk in the door. I'm sure you're going to enjoy learning all about Adrienne. Adrienne, also, I wanted to ask you about with YouTube. What do you think? What do you think you need to start a YouTube channel? Somebody asked us that yesterday. On anything, what do you think it takes?
I think you touched on it a couple minutes ago, which is just to be authentic.
Mm-hmm.
We all have something to offer. And, I think video is a really good way of showing your personality and your passions. And I think, the best thing to do is just be yourself and speak to your audience as you would to a friend or a family member. And I think it's pretty easy in terms of the technology piece. All you really need is a laptop, a phone, an iPad. My husband started setting me up with some nicer pieces with the, ring light and other things. But really, all you just need is yourself.
Exactly. That's what I was trying to tell our question, answer the question yesterday. As long as you have something to say that you think someone else will share, whether it's gardening, I can't tell you how many gardening channels I watch, and I will never have those beautiful tulips, but they're relaxing. They're wonderful to watch. So everybody always has something wonderful to say about that. But I do want to ask you also about, let's go back just a little bit. When you grew up, who were the people around you that loved jewelry? Did they engage you in it? Was there a business involvement or retail therapy? What was it about jewelry that attracted you long ago when you were growing up?
There's always retail therapy. So my love of jewelry comes from my mom and her mom, my grandmother Goldie. They always had jewelry. My mom reminded me the other day, I come from a very humble upbringing. My grandmother on my mom's side was a single mother, and she was definitely a career woman. She was a controller at companies like ABC Television. But there wasn't a lot of money there because she was a single mom, and she did have a really beautiful jewelry collection. But my mom reminded me recently, most of it was in sterling, even though she had a love of gold because that was what she could afford. And I've worn some of her pieces on air, and she had a beautiful collection and many jewelry boxes, those, old school fabric jewelry boxes with all the compartments. I always played in those jewelry boxes when I was young. And then my mom was a real fashionista. She was also a career woman, an entrepreneur. She did tons of things. She was a makeup artist, and she owned her own company, a recruitment agency, and she also sold jewelry. So,
really?
Yeah, she did.
What kind of jewelry?
She sold fine jewelry, early on when my parents were young, and she would sell in beauty parlors, or they would.
She made this jewelry, or was a company franchise?
She did not make the jewelry. No. And she would buy pieces and sell pieces, kind of like
kind of like what we're doing now.
Exactly.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, and she has beautiful taste, and she also hit some tougher times in the last few years and sold those pieces. And it makes me sad because I wasn't in a position really to help, and now those pieces are gone. But we still have a fair amount in our family in terms of the jewelry. But she loves it, and I do. I've always loved jewelry. I've always loved fashion. If you saw my closet, you would probably pass out. The collections of things, and I hold on to things because I feel like everything always comes back into style.
It does indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I told. Like I said, when I went to find your channel, when you sent me my gold back, the first thing I said to my friend Vanessa, I said, "She's poshy. You're gonna love her. She's so poshy. You can tell she is on posh because you just come off, no matter what you're wearing, you just come off that way." And it's nice to discover, like I said, different people, to find them on YouTube because your feed tends to get stale. What actually motivates you to keep doing YouTube videos? Because I want to tell you that I think another thing, not just your look and everything, you're easy on the eyes, as they say, but your little stories. Like we found out that you were married late in life. You're still in the honeymoon later in life, and that's just fascinating for a lot of people because I think it's inspiring. You have a survival story as well. If you want to tell us about that.
Sure. So I'm a lymphoma survivor at Hodgkin's lymphoma when I was 25. It is the best and the worst thing that could have happened to me in my life. I would never wish it upon anybody, but it really does teach you to be thankful and also generous in terms of your spirit and, philanthropy and what you give back to this world. I was young. I was just getting started in my career. I just moved to Manhattan. And I was thriving in my job and in my social life. I had a couple roommates. We were having a wonderful time. And I developed a cough. And at that time, I was a smoker. And I was also burning the candle at both ends. I was working very hard. But, you're living in Manhattan with a couple of your girlfriends. You're also partying. You're going out a lot. So I thought, I'm probably sick, bronchitis or something, and I went to a new doctor who had never met me because I was pretty new to Manhattan, and he had a gut feeling to take an X-ray. And I am so lucky, Thelma, because if he hadn't made that move, it would have progressed, and I was almost going into stage 3 lymphoma.
Wow.
So
that's an incredible story.
Yeah, I had
there's always something serendipitous about something like that. You were there at the right time, and he took that X-ray.
I know.
That does not happen very often, and you're right about the way people change their attitudes about everything when those life-changing things come into play. I shared with my Facebook group that my husband suffered a stroke a month ago and survived fairly well, intact, no residuals, as they say. But again, it's like that one day you just say to yourself, wait a minute, this is what I've lived and this is what I have.
Right.
And what's going to happen now? How do we make it better? How do we make every day count, every day better for not just you, but for your loved ones, for the people around you, and then looking at what's important in life.
Yes.
And a lot of people think that, and I'll get to that question again. Let me just thank Miss Hudson over at Hudson Vintage. John, thank you so much for that super chat. That is so sweet of you. She said, what comes around goes around. That's absolutely true.
It's true.
That's absolutely true. It many have said it. It's what you put in it in life is what you get out. And a lot of times if you're stale and just kind of a salty person, you just get saltier. And sometimes it doesn't take that life event to do it. It's other things, hopefully, but I think meeting people in here that have, like I said, meeting Adrienne the way I did, I was just like, I can't believe someone would actually do that. She didn't even have to acknowledge that she got anything in the mail. And yet she did. And then there's, with so many dishonest people in this world, when you run into someone who's honest and genuine, it just touches your heart.
Thank you.
I really like that. Now, let me tell you, let me ask you something about jewelry.
Okay.
I had that book from, what's her name? Adrienne, Albright. And she was the diplomat, I think, in the Clinton administration. And she wears her brooches for different occasions, or she did, to speak, right? That book is amazing. It talks all about why she wore this particular brooch that day, everything from Avon to Cartier. But what piece of jewelry do you put on when you want to feel empowered? When you have, let's say, an important meeting? I often joke about these things that come out of my jars, and I'll say, this is the thing I'm going to wear to fire somebody on Monday. Maybe you clip on earrings or something, that you yank off, and, things like that. But do you have a piece that kind of empowers you?
I would say the piece that probably empowers me the most is my watch.
Mm-hmm.
I wear it every day. It's a Datejust Rolex. It is pre-owned. It's 1993. And the reason I say that, and there's obviously some prestige with the Rolex, and they're beautiful watches and all of that. But
right.
the reason I feel, I don't know if power is the right word, but just a sense of accomplishment is because I bought this for myself before I met Mark, and just as I was getting my business started. And it was very tough for me to make this purchase, even though it was pre-owned. And, I think it was probably around the $5,000 mark. For me, at that stage of my life, it was such I forgot to shut my ringer off. I apologize.
Don't worry about it.
It was such a big purchase. It was the biggest purchase I had ever made. Now, don't forget, I lived in New York. I didn't own a car. I didn't own property. So to spend $5,000 on something for me was a huge deal. It took me a couple weeks to pull the trigger. But I did it because I felt like I just started a business. I had always worked in corporate jobs, and I wanted to remember how hard I worked, and I wanted something on my person every day as a reminder of how much I've grown and accomplished. And so I would say it is a daily reminder of that. I don't think I'll ever replace this watch because it does mean a lot to me.
Yeah, I don't blame you. That's a beautiful watch. What size is the face on that watch? And I can see the emotion in it when you speak about it. But what size is the face? It's like a medium size, right?
No, I don't
love it.
It's pretty big.
Yeah, but it's not as big as some. I've seen some women wear the men's watches, and they're a little bit bigger.
It's not a men's watch.
It's like a medium. No, but it's like a medium. It's not a man's watch. I've seen women wear the men's watches, and I love the Datejust. I want to pull the trigger on one day too, but it takes a while. It's so crazy how we feel a little bit guilty about for that. You have to, like you said, pull the trigger. You feel a little bit guilty about what some people call frivolity, which is jewelry, but I don't think it is. It's so emotional. There's such emotion attached to it. Like you said, that one gave you a sense of accomplishment and still does, and reminds you of how far you've come. Right. And, I have similar jewelry. When I was struggling with my last years of school, I went to school late in life. My second career was as a teacher, and I was probably the second or third oldest person to graduate that year from our university here. But it was something I wanted to do. And you know what ring I wore to remind me that I could get through all of these tough classes that I hadn't studied, college algebra or geometry in I don't know how many years, was a unicorn. I wore this ring that I don't know where I found it, and I just put it on. I said, you know what? Some people actually believed in these things. I'm going to believe in me. I know that sounds crazy, but I wore that ring. I really wore that ring every day. It was a little pinky ring, and because it got really tough for me, but it was something I wanted to do. I always wanted to be a teacher before I wanted to be a nurse. And what else did I say?
Were you a nurse? I didn't know that about you.
I wanted to be a nurse.
You wanted to be
a nurse, and let me tell you why I didn't want to be a nurse later. Not only were all the science thrown at me a little bit, like, I was a little leery of all the science, but when I went in for an interview to the nursing school, the first thing the lady told me was, you wear too much jewelry.
Oh, that's enough to change careers.
Literally, she told me that. It was crazy. Would you say that jewelry is a passion or obsession for you?
Passion.
A
passion. Yeah.
And why? Why not an obsession? Because I feel like I'm in an obsession right now. Adria, you know what happened right before we started? I walked through this room and I knocked over a jewelry box this big because I'm overcrowded in my obsession. It's
Yeah.
gotten to, yeah. So yours?
I feel like if something happened tomorrow where I needed to sell everything I could, it's definitely a passion though, and I love it, and it really did get me through a hard time. But I never had this type of accumulation of jewelry. I mean, I would have some signature pieces and some nice things, but I could give it up if I needed to. I don't need to, but if I did,
right. But it's funny how they multiply when you get the boxes. And I never had this much jewelry. I literally have it all around me.
Yeah,
I've never had, and such interesting jewelry too. It's like I didn't like beads before. 2 years ago, I think, when I started watching Makeup Zombie, and she was obsessed with stones more than diamonds. She loves moonstones and quartz and just all kinds of things. And I never had put on a necklace with beads prior to that. And then now I'm like, it's really interesting how you discover different things.
Yeah, you evolve. Your style evolves.
I think so. And then you mentioned your mother or grandmother actually liking sterling, and sterling was not that popular in the 60s. And I mean, I don't think it was. I know my mother liked white gold, and that was unusual. Everybody liked yellow gold.
Yeah.
It's kind of a different thing.
My grandmother was very unique. I mean, back then, so it would have been in the 40s. My mom was born in 43. It was highly unusual to be single with a baby. She divorced very young.
To even be working in the 60s was
and to be working.
Unusual. Yeah.
Yes.
Do you have some, other than the ones you showed us in your hall, those beautiful things you brought home, other heirlooms that they've passed on to you before you even made that trip that you are especially attached to?
That was fun, wasn't it? Seeing my mom, all the stuff my mom gifted me.
I was going goo goo gaga over that turquoise.
Oh, that ring is special. It really
is. Because you see turquoise today, and I don't want to put any artisans down. There's some amazing artisans out there, but there's something about a 70s, 60s piece that it just screams, I'm real.
Quality.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
My mom, I wouldn't say there are heirlooms in my family, but my mom is constantly gifting me things, loaning me things. I mean, when I went to put jewelry on earlier, I was very cognizant of what I was wearing on your show, and I was going through my jewelry box, and I put this ring on that I haven't had on in a while, and
that's a pretty one.
I know. She purchased this for herself and said, you know what, it looks better on you, and gave it right to me. So
that's got a special name. I can't remember what it's called. Is it called a wedding cake, y'all, in the chat? Feel free to answer any of our inquiries here, and if you have questions, put them in caps. That's beautiful.
Yeah, it's a beautiful ring. My mom's always been like that. I mean, she would just give you the rings off of her fingers. She likes to share, and but the only thing I would call maybe an heirloom is my great grandmother's Tiffany setting, which was probably from I want to say the 20s or 30s. And my mom kept the diamond from that ring because my father could not afford to give her a diamond. So she wore my great grandmother's diamond in another setting. And I asked her to keep that setting for me. It was a platinum, beautiful, traditional Tiffany setting. And, I said, well, when I get married, maybe I'll use this setting for my engagement ring. And my mom, as usual, was right. She said, you're going to want your own, but I'll keep it for you. And of course, Mark came along, and we did look at putting a stone in that ring. And I decided, he should do my ring separately. But Mark took that setting on our first year anniversary, and he put an emerald in it. And so, yeah. And we have the Tiffany original felt bag for that ring.
Oh my gosh.
100 years old, Velma. It's crazy. And I love that ring. And it's so special because all the women in my family wore it. And now, Mark reset it for me in my birthstone. So it's a beautiful ring. I'll show it next time I'm on the air.
Dawn tells us that's a harem ring. style.
I'm
That's so
sure
pretty.
I'm
Yeah,
sure she's right.
it stands really tall, and that's very, very unique. Boy,
It's
Mark is quite the man.
he.
Where did they harvest him? I'm sure I see the ladies don't know.
Wow.
That is so thoughtful for him to
Mhm.
do that. Was that in platinum, you said?
It's in platinum.
That's amazing.
He's very special. He was brought up in Montana. Very special parents, very kind people, and I'm very glad I waited for him. It was really tough, honestly, to be single for so many years and on my own, and so I was very careful about who I let in my life in later years. And then Mark came along, and he's really just a very special human being. And I'm thankful for him.
And how long have you been married? 5 years, you said? 4 years?
3 years. We're only married 3 years.
3 years.
For 5. Yeah.
Definitely still in the honeymoon phase. And that honeymoon phase can last a long time if you've got the right person, right?
Yes.
For sure.
Yeah.
And you're moving to Miami.
I
That's
am.
your next move. I'm excited for you. I've always wanted to visit Miami. I think it's got a whole other vibe you're going to really enjoy from what I've seen. And, I'm obsessed with geographies and cultures, and there's definitely a different culture there.
Yeah.
Not only ethnically, but fashion-wise, everything. What are you looking forward to in Miami, other than
being closer to home? Yeah, this is a tough move. I never left New York, the tri-state area, until I met Mark. And then his kids were in Chicago, so we moved to Chicago. And then work brought him out to San Diego, so I followed him out here. I call myself his groupie, because, but this year really taught me a lot about needing to be close to my family. And my parents are in, their late 70s, and life is short, and my brother and his husband are in Savannah, Georgia. So this brings me back home. But, Miami for me in New York was a vacation spot. I would go down every couple months for a quick weekend, even on my own. In fact, that really taught me how to be a little bit more independent as a single person, starting to travel on my own when my girlfriends were married and I didn't have, friends to do that with. So I fell in love with Miami. I mean, it's the culture, the weather, the food, the music, the nightlife.
Yeah.
For me, San Diego's a little sleepy coming from the East Coast. Everything's closing down at 10 or 11 o'clock at night. I'm just getting started, Yeah.
So you've been there a few times, and it's not going to be new to you.
It will not be new. And Mark has lived down there before. So.
Oh, okay. That's going to be interesting.
It's going to
be a lot of fun. There was a YouTuber on here. I can't recall her name right now, but young girl. I don't even think she was 30, and she was out of Miami. And she was a reseller, though. And boy, she opened up a store in Miami, and just very entrepreneurial type of, from what I've gathered and people that I meet from there, and that particular type of, I don't know, that type of culture. They're very entrepreneurship, and just, like, I can do it. I can do this on my own. I don't have to work for someone.
Yes.
On that vein, do you see, I know you're seeing some success, a lot of success with your auctions and your resale business, but maybe, again, that's what I was about, a vehicle, a passion, an obsession. Where does it all come together where it becomes something that you enjoy and is lucrative? And how do you see yourself using that on YouTube also? Yeah,
the fact that it's lucrative is kind of a surprise, to be honest with you. I mean, it came at a good time, because my other business, which, I've had for 7 years, it's a public relations agency. It took a dip during COVID, because what happens in marketing is, the marketing dollars decrease when times are tougher. And so someone like me is the first to go. So we went from like 12 clients to 3 clients during this time. And so the jewelry thing, where it was, it was a pastime, at certain points here has become necessary,
Right.
and my husband makes a very good living, so it's not like I'm in any, danger of having everything fall apart, but I'm super independent. And so, I like to contribute to the household in the same way that I always have. So the jewelry taking off just came at a really nice time. But that said, we're very fortunate, and I am trying to balance it all, and it is work. Even though I enjoy it, Mark used to call the jewelry thing a hobby, and I told him recently, you can't really call this a hobby anymore because it's helping me bring income into the household. So, it's fun, and but it's still a job, and that. I mean, I watch you every week, and you put your auctions together beautifully, and you're on air for hours, and you have to ship everything, and you've got a day job. It's.
Yeah.
And, I don't know about you, but I'm working every day of the week at this point because you have to fit in the jewelry around your career as well.
Yeah. And I don't know. It's a lot of work. It really is, but it's also fun. And they always say the fun comes first. Do what you like.
Right.
But apparently you love what your other job as well. So that's always a given as well.
Yeah.
I think YouTube is a great vehicle to grow a community and then expand it if you want. Not everybody starts YouTube to go into an enterprise.
Right.
And I think that's, like I said, that's where the genuine comes into play, and people gravitate towards that. But it is a nice vehicle to find people that like what you like and are interested in what you are doing and finding that jewelry. Now, obviously, you've been digging into your own collection because you've got some crazy, beautiful things.
Thank you.
Other than Goodwill, where else do you source?
So I buy from other resellers. I go to thrift stores. Goodwill, we've talked about this. Goodwill doesn't really sell jewelry in their stores, but other thrift stores do. There's an American Cancer Society thrift store out here, and I don't know who's doing the presentation of their jewelry, but they do an outstanding job, and they do, interesting themes every month. I think last month they had all different kinds of critter jewelry that was amazing, and they have beautiful, beautiful things. So I'll go there. There's a store in Rancho Santa Fe, which we're, just right next to. It's a very, very exclusive neighborhood where Bill Gates has a home, and so they have a thrift store that's called like the Helen Woodward Animal Center, and they tend to have incredible pieces, really, really unique. So I have my ways of getting inventory. I love opening the Goodwill bags and boxes. There are definitely some duds, but there are other boxes like I opened the other day, and it's filled with treasure.
That was incredible.
That's where I really have a great time when you're unbagging those treasures. So it comes from all over.
I know you found some valuable pieces, gold, and you found some diamonds and everything too, I think, right?
Yes.
That's always fun. What would you say your biggest score was from a Goodwill box, and how long ago was this?
So the biggest score, I wish I had it with me. I'm in my jewelry room, not my bedroom where I keep my things. But the best score that I found was a 24 karat gold necklace.
Ooh, I didn't hear about that one.
Thelma, I will have to show it to you. It's so shiny, and the only other piece I have in that
heavy, I bet.
Heavy. And the gold is like, it almost looks fake, right? It's almost so shiny and so buttery, and it's
soft.
So it's a necklace.
It's silky. It's so funny, but when I pull out a gold chain, it's silky. It has this sleekness that no other metal has.
Yeah.
And it's like anything, you just kind of like, wow, that's different. That's incredible, Adrienne. I didn't know about that.
It has all of these dangles, and it almost looked fake. So and I found it at the beginning of this whole, jewelry thing for me. So I put it aside, because what I do is I go through the bags and then I put them aside and then I go through them again, right? And I look with the loop and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I had put it aside thinking it was fake. And when I took it back out, I looked at it, I said, these look like my earrings from Dubai. It's so shiny and yellow. And it was marked. And sure enough, that it's insane. And it's a gorgeous piece. And if I didn't love it so much, I would probably sell it, because it's probably worth thousands of dollars.
Well, hold on to it, because it's definitely gonna maybe buy you another Rolex or two.
I know, right?
Later. That's incredible, though, and I love that about the different golds from the different countries and the Middle East, especially the wedding jewelry, if they call it. I was just listening to a podcast today, and they were talking about why women are particularly. They always say, "Oh, women love jewelry." Women. Why is it that women, is the first one you think of when you think of jewelry? And they were saying that it's actually a means of monetary, like a little nest egg. And that's why traditionally it's always been the women are dressed in jewelry, in certain countries, but it's of course been passed on because it is an investment. It is something that you can always, good jewelry can increase in value. It rarely decreases in value, no matter what the price of gold is. We're not really talking about gold, we're talking about jewelry. So that's an incredible thing to know, that something like that can happen, but it does. And many times people, they almost don't believe that we find some of these things in jewelry jars, but we do. I know Kristen found a huge bangle not too long ago as well.
I saw that.
Crazy. I was like, I would have so kept that bangle, but I'm sure she got some good money for it. But
yeah.
Oh my!
That was a beautiful bangle, and it was exciting to see. I always wonder, and I don't know if you have ideas on this, but how that happens. Like, is that somebody who really wanted to make that donation, or is that a family member going through somebody's things and not knowing?
I think it's not knowing, and that's the problem. I think when we share this passion, this obsession, this loving attitudes towards jewelry, but yet we never tell people, hey, if I happen to perish in an airplane to Dubai, this is valuable. I want to make a video actually of my jewelry boxes and just point out or label or something. So when my kids come and clean out my closets, they don't just do an estate sale, or, I mean, even the estates will probably know, but sometimes they just grab everything and put it on the curb. I know my neighbors have rescued things from their parents' houses because the brothers got there first and they threw out the good china and the silver and it was on the curb. So I honestly think that's what happens, that people just don't know. And they may be in the midst of mourning and, in that grief period where they don't want to have anything to do with anything and just take it and whatnot. That's probably what happens, honestly.
Yeah.
It gets mixed up with the good jewelry. The costume jewelry gets mixed up with it. I see it all the time too. I'll find, I think I bought a box from Donatella. It was a mystery box. It had a whole bunch of little kids' toys, and it was like you didn't know what you were going to get. And at the very bottom was a couple of gold earrings, just stuck in the cardboard.
Yeah,
it's crazy. Yeah, you just never. Does anybody have any questions for our guest today? If you do, let me know. She said she sold it for a good amount. Go for it.
Kristen did. I can't see the chat. Hi, Kristen.
You can see the chat? Yeah.
That was a great find. I was happy for you.
That was amazing. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, where do you see your channel going?
Hopefully to 1,000 people subscribe.
I think we're going to get there today. I keep dropping your link. We are going to post your link here, guys, when we leave, and I'm going to put it on the community tab as well. If you're not subscribed to her, be sure and do so. Hi, Ruthie's Corner and My Skywatch and Jewelry Pirate.
Oh my God.
Lots of new names for here too. They probably came from your channel that I don't recognize. So thank you guys so much for being here. Do we have any questions for Adrienne?
And subscribe to Thelma's channel. It's so much fun. I love this series, but I also love when she does her heart to heart and her jewelry bag openings. And
thank you.
A lot of fun.
How do you organize your jewelry that you're getting from the boxes? No.
Great question. I will not embarrass myself by spinning this camera around.
Yeah.
What I try to do, and I need more of them, is put everything in a stacking tray. So I do that. I have to, and I sold a bunch of them last night. I have to do some jewelry jars because I actually have necklaces. I have an entire closet of necklaces hanging from the place where my purse should be. A whole jewelry closet. Yeah.
Okay. I have 2 coat racks full of necklaces. They're a little bit in order of color. This one's all pearls. It's incredible. It's incredible. And not even my
armoires too, don't you? Filled with
what?
Armoires.
I have armoires full of jewelry. I love to get those little dressers. That's why I was looking at that dresser in that ride along. Those tall little lingerie dressers. Yeah. I need to get a couple of those. And my husband told me yesterday, there's jewelry everywhere in the house. There's some over here in the kitchen bar. There's some in the island because I get it, in the mail and I'm looking at it or inspecting it or testing it. It's everywhere. It really takes over. And it's just, I don't know. That's why I do a lot of giveaways too. And I think we're going to do a giveaway right now just for the heck of it. We're talking about hoards. I'm going to do a jewelry jar giveaway to the first person that can tell me in the chat, and I will look on this chat right here. Where is Adrian moving to? What city and state is Adrian moving to? First one in the chat will get a jewelry jar today. Sent to you, I'll need your address sent to me to my DelmaHoards@gmail.com. It's right there on the screen. I need this.
Who wins? I can't see.
I need the city and state.
Dawn, you better get this right, girl. Oh, she's a lot of fun, isn't she? Dawn from Hudson Vintage.
I think, oh my goodness, it's so funny. I got a couple of Miamis, but I need Miami, Florida. And I think I got Miami, Florida on this.
I want to do a giveaway, Thelma.
Oh, you're going to do it. This is just impromptu, guys. Believe me, I should have done it with Vanessa too. But we're just talking about all this jewelry, and it is all around me. And
me too.
And necklaces. I have another cabinet full of statement necklaces, pearls, beads, silver, incredible. But we'll put all of it together in a little jewelry jar style. But we'll put it in a bag and we will give it out to our winner. And let me see.
Can I do a trivia question and a giveaway?
Sure. Oh, pretty.
Pretty, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have a question for the audience. Let's see.
Let me get my winner first so we don't have it.
And then I have a question.
Yeah, I think I saw Vanessa with Miami first, but then Florida from Vanessa. Miami, Florida. And so I have Vanessa here first.
I was so embarrassed. I was tuning in and out of the show yesterday with Vanessa, and I wound up asking her a question that you guys answered earlier in the broadcast. But I did note that Dania, Florida is a good place to go thrifting, and I definitely will do that.
And that's a city, Dania?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Closer to Lauderdale.
We can congratulate Vanessa. I think Vanessa was the first one.
Good job, Vanessa.
Did somebody see someone else besides Vanessa? Let me know in the chat.
Yeah, I think I'm obsessed with Miami. I keep talking about it on the channel. I'm so excited. We're leaving in a month, Thelma. I don't know how I'm going to get all this done.
That's what I'm saying.
Woo! Yeah. So Vanessa, did you win? Did she win?
We got Gail A. and we got Vanessa, and we got a little dispute, so they're both going to get one.
Oh.
Just to make it fair, because Vanessa did come in with Miami, and then she put Florida, and then Gail did it first. So we'll do 2 jewelry jars going out today. Gail, send me your address. And Vanessa, you're going to have to send me your Ohio address so you can have a jewelry jar to open up in Ohio. And then Gail A as well. Okay, do yours.
I was just going to do a necklace. I can't see the chat, so I'm going to rely on you, Thelma.
Okay.
What is my cat's name?
Your what?
My cat.
Oh, okay. Your cat. Oh my
I
goodness.
talk about her fair amount. So if you watch my channel, you will get this if you can answer my cat's name. These are genuine pearls. These are really cool. And they
fabulous.
on. Yeah.
All right. Well, we got some answers. It looks like I have Kristen in with Boo.
Yes.
Like Halloween Boo.
Yes. We found her. Well, we found her right after the passing of my little dog, Caesar. She started showing up on our property in Illinois. And then it started getting cold in Chicago, and it was the day before Halloween, and I never liked cats, and Mark and I let her in with the goal of finding her a good home, and then we fell in love with her.
Aww.
Yeah. She's
Why'd you name her Boo?
For Halloween.
Oh, yeah, you said Halloween. That's so
cute. Yeah, and she's a little black cat. She's really sable color, like a dark brown. But you know, from afar, she looked like a black cat for Halloween, and so yeah, so we named her Boo.
Well, I'm glad you like cats now. My sister's totally phobic of cats. She cannot do it. I don't know why, but we need them, don't we? We need our pets around us. They really, know, just the right time to come around. And
she brings me so much joy, Thelma. You know, I think if you have a bad experience with a type of animal, you have a phobia. I had some bad experiences with cats when I was younger, with like hissing and scratching at me.
Right.
So I never liked them. But this, I mean, she sleeps on her husband's chest at night. She gives little kisses. She's like a little puppy.
Aww. Well, with that, I guess we'll let y'all go, guys. We gave away some jewelry. It was a lot of fun. I really, really enjoyed picking Adrienne's brain a little bit more and introducing her to those of you who don't know her. Please go subscribe to her channel. She is an absolute delight. Everything that she puts out there, from the jewelry that she's putting on auction to just unboxing, and she shares her wonderful little tidbits about her family. And it's just a lot of fun to take in her content. So do so. Give us a thumbs up on the way out, and we'll get those giveaways out to you. Tomorrow, we're going to have Sally at Vintage Discoveries. I'm so excited to talk to her as well. And then we'll go on to Monday with Dawn at Hudson Vintage. And we are really going to pick her brain too, because she is quite the scion here on YouTube. So thank you, Adrienne. I do appreciate it very much. We can say goodbye now. And see you guys very soon. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you, Thelma, for having me. Bye, everybody.